before anyone is even in the water, jumping in head first, starts swimming out there. And only after he gets about halfway out there, we start seeing him just slowly sinking below the water. And it starts this huge panic, and Christina goes out over there, and Mr. Darling swimming, both strong swimmers, get him and help him to shore. And after the fact, I said, Mr. Green, what was going on there? And he's like, well, no, sir, I never learned how to swim. What? Why did you tell me? So we're going to always ask people if they can swim before they jump in the water.
Good thing is I know how to swim now.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Conversations from the Heart. Today, we have a really special episode for you because, as you can see, we are joined by the staff of Rising Phoenix Martial Arts. We're going to be talking a little bit about our year in review, but before we get started, for those of you who don't know, we'll be doing introductions. So I can get started with that. My name is Jesse Trader. I'm an assistant instructor here at the school, as well as the internal community coordinator. So I work a lot with the parents and students and just a lot of the people that come through the door here at the school. And I've been at Rising Phoenix for about 3 years. It'll be 3 years in January.
Hi, I'm Christina. I am also an assistant instructor on Saturdays. I've been here for probably about 3 years as well. I also work the pro shop and do work the products, all that kind of cool stuff. I make promotions. I also do the promotions for the referral contests.
Hi, I'm Mr. McDaniel. I'm an assistant instructor here on Fridays. I'm the head facilities manager. I cut the grass. I pretty much do upkeep around the building, a lot of cleaning and trimmings.
He's the man behind all the magic. I see him much. He does a lot of work. I'm Master Olds. I'm the head instructor here. Trained long time, running board with all those credentials, but basically do whatever these guys don't do.
I am Mr. Noreen here, and I am on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I do the canvassing and tabling for the school, so I'm the one that sits under that tent, getting new students here.
Awesome. Well, I'm really excited that everybody's here. We have staff meetings, but we don't, usually sit down and like have conversations like this. So without further ado, let's hop right into it. Our first topic is, what are some memorable moments from this year kind of connected to the school? It doesn't necessarily have to be in a class, it doesn't have to be an event, but just anything that comes to mind that you can think about. You think, man, at Rising Phoenix this year, this is what I remember.
Yeah, so there's so many memories that I love so much. I hold a lot of memories to this school from the very beginning to even now. But this year alone has just been incredible. We've done so many great events like the camping, the retreat, and our Christmas party even. I unfortunately wasn't there at the Halloween party, so I can't really say too much on that. But I really enjoyed seeing the pictures from the Halloween party, so I'm sure it was a blast. One memory that really holds really close was being able to go on that camping trip, because I don't know very many people that camp. So being able to go with my martial arts family and camp and we're even fish a little bit, that was a lot of fun. And helping the kids swim, that was so much fun, even though I forgot my swimsuit, so that was a lot of fun. The retreat was also really memorable because it showed how much it in a way sparked my inner fire that had kind of dulled down. So being able to go on the retreat and re-spark that was a really cool moment. And being able to work with all the staff and Master Olds and getting my butt kicked almost every single day was always a very good moment for me, because it helped me get better.
Yeah, I mean, just going on the camping trip, it was the first year we did that, and we're a little worry that a lot of people wouldn't feel comfortable going on that camping trip. But we had such a tight knit group that we had a really large number of parents and their kids come, and I think it really helped bring the school even closer together. I mean, it was a really big success. Definitely want to work on doing that again next year, so even bigger and better. You know, it wasn't exactly the kind of camping that, you know, I'm really into, like a knife and a sack of grain, but I will say that the moms that had their like pop-up kitchens did put out some pretty good food, so.
Yes, sir.
Really can't complain.
I've been in the Boy Scouts a lot, and this was like glamping almost.
Yeah.
Like I personally brought MREs. I went to the Army Navy store, brought MREs, but there was just, everyone cooked so much food that I almost didn't need it. I mean, we had Jeremy on the grill flipping burgers.
Hot dogs,
Yeah,
stuff.
it was so
Yeah,
great.
I brought a can of soup, and I was gonna cook my soup, and then I was gonna use it as my bowl for the rest of the week, and I was gonna use it as my spoon, and I get out there like this, and everyone's just looking at me like I'm a crazy person. Slowly kind of hide that and reacclimate to a different standard of camping. So if you guys are really nervous about going out camping, don't worry, you can glamp as much as you want to.
Yes, sir.
But also retreat, great. I'm sure we're going to talk a little bit more about that as we go forward.
Yeah, I think the retreat was a really good experience, I think, for all of us. I'm not gonna harp on it too much, but if you can go to it, I would highly recommend going to it, because you'll just find so much about yourself, and you can really get a good bonding with the other people who trained with you there. Because we had one of Master Olds' old students, Mr. Darling, and yeah, shout out to Mr. Darling. Yes, like we hardly trained with this guy, but like at the end of the retreat, or like midway through, we were like brothers practically throughout the entire experience. Other events that we did that I enjoyed, we did a hiking at Blue Hole.
Oh yeah.
And I remember going out with some of the sidekicks to trailblaze some of the trails before the place. Even though we ended up getting lost, it was still a lot of fun just trying to discover where you are. And like, well, one group got separated from us somehow, because we just had this big, massive people with us. Like like in the back of the line, they got lost, but eventually we reconnected with them. And it's like, wow, I really need to figure out how to lead bigger trains of people for trails. But it also brings me to some things like, well, we could have the easy route, and someone leads the easy route, and someone leads a hard route, more intense route.
It is so funny whenever we get onto trails, because we are usually such a big group, and so you have like this train that happens, and you'll be at the very front, Mr. Michael, and then there'll be like a line of people like ushering you along the trail, like stopped at all of the
One of my favorite parts of that particular walk was there's a big pack of us, and we're kind of blocking the path, and a group of bicyclists came by, and we said, okay, clear side, guys. When they go by, we're all gonna cheer them on. We felt so awkward. You could tell us, we're like, woohoo!
It was so fun.
But yeah, it was cool. I feel like those hikes have been a really big success. We've done them a number of times over the years, and always gets a big turnout. Everyone always feels, good with the endorphin rush after working out, and we'll definitely have to keep doing those.
Honestly, in the future, I would really, really like us to go to Enchanted Rock. Because I really know that place like the back of my hand. This would be one of those places where, okay, we have like your short hike right here for probably kids. It's interactive. It has a bunch of stuff you can learn. And then you have the adult hike that goes around the entire mountain. And the advanced hike, where after the big loop trail, you have to go up the mountain.
Yes, sir.
I did that. It was a good 5 hours with me and my friend. We were just blazing that trail, and then after that we went up the mountain, and I was like, I can't feel my legs. It was so awesome.
We will definitely have to go hiking again. Blue Hole, that's a really good suggestion. Never been out there. But also, we've been looking for places that are kind of close to go hiking, as well as probably camping too. We had a really great place. You know, Sarah Fleming picked out an awesome location for us, just one of our sidekicks, Palmetto State Park, and I'd love going back there again. But if you guys have suggestions about places to go camping or places to go hiking, definitely would love to hear those. You can
Yes,
put
sir.
them in the comments below.
Christina, were you gonna say something off the hiking?
Oh, yes, I was part of that group that got lost. Shout out to the people who got lost with me. We made it through.
Yes.
So we ended up finding people at the very front. We're like, how did this even happen? It was scary, but it was fun because there's trails everywhere. So of course, we eventually make it out alive.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. There was a lot of fun things to do when we went camping. Like so, the canoeing was an option. There was a playground you can play on. So
Yeah, fun thing with that Palmetto camp out, like we got that big thunderstorm that happened just the night before.
Yes.
yeah, we got lucky.
We got lucky and the storms missed us, but like the next day the river flooded, so we couldn't really go swimming after that.
You could, just would be safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of the highlights for me this year were the grand award ceremony.
Yes,
And it's the first year we've ever done it. It's the first time I've ever seen something like that done at an academy. And it's something that I've been thinking about for a long time. I thought, we really need to reward our students who are really pushing themselves and trying their very best to live that warrior ethos. And what better way than to have like a banquet just dedicated to the students. And I thought, we weren't going to get that many people, but it turned out that it was a packed house, and the reason why I didn't think we were going to do it was in the middle of COVID.
Right.
And we had previously planned to do it at the Plum Creek Community Center, and they called me up like two days before we were going to do it and said, oh, by the way, all the pipes are broken, you can't do it
That
in
was
here.
right after the big freeze.
Yeah, and so kind of freaking out, and we had to figure out, well, how are we going to do this? Grandmaster Kwan was flying in that weekend to do a seminar. He's calling me up and saying, I hear everything's frozen over down there. I was like, why don't we reschedule it? And we, over the next couple of weeks, we got in here and we were scraping down the floor, trying to get the floor ready. Because if you guys went to the grand award ceremony, you came to our Christmas party, you probably saw the raw floor. But we actually scraped it down and sealed it. You would have been terrified by what that floor looked like before, because this building, believe it or not, is one of the oldest buildings in Kyle. It's actually a historic building. I got a book on the history of Kyle from Barnes and Nobles, and I was reading through it, and like halfway through the book, there was a whole page on this building. I was like, wow, that's so cool.
Nice.
So anyway, we're kind of training in a piece of history, which is kind of cool, because we talk a lot about tradition and history and how that's so important. But anyway, that's why the floor was so scary, because it looks like 100-year-old floor.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the grand award ceremony was really exciting. We had a great cookout over the summer, which I thought was good. I got to play frisbee, some cornhole. I feel like the park we went to, Great Fire Park, is always fun because there's a lot of things for the kids to do. You can get under a canopy a little bit, so it's not so hot, but then there's also a place where you can play frisbee. So I think that was good. And of course, the retreat. I mean, this was the first time that we did the retreat, and we're always striving to be a place where you can train your whole life, And I'm very proud of the fact that we have a good kids program, a good Little Warriors program, a good family program in our all ages classes, and a good adult program. And that's why, I really want to remind everyone, it is not too late to go do something like the retreat. If you're 40 years old and you have a family of 4, find some time, talk with your spouse about coming up there to Vermont and doing this kind of really essential training, because most people go their whole lives and they never really push themselves to a high level. And there's only so far you can go training a couple times a week. You really need to do, some intensive training where you're training, we're up there at 8 hours a day, 8 days for 8 days. In that period of time, you put in more time on the mats than most people do in like 6 months or a year. So it's, you can accomplish a lot, and that's also why you saw a lot of big promotions happen up there. That's where we're trying to do a lot of our, more senior black belt promotions and stuff, and really reward people for taking that challenge and making that sacrifice. So I think it brought us all closer together. Absolutely, that was really us, and yeah, for sure. And anyone else who wants to join us?
Yes, sir.
So
Mr. Noreen, open it up.
This year was so fun and just so thrilling for just a number of reasons. Like starting off, I don't even know where to begin, but I'm just gonna start off with a treat for myself.
Yes, sir.
So the main thing that I really liked about the retreat that I felt was so special is the morning run, running around the mountain, and then once we get there, sitting there and meditating in the cool morning wind, the sun's coming up, it's just so beautiful and just calming overall. And bouncing off that meditation, going swimming, and after that swim, sitting on a rock in the middle of just like football-sized lake. It's like just sitting in that circle, just meditating, just really feeling
what
the
Mr.
air.
Noreen is not telling you is probably the highlight of that. The highlight of the terror of the retreat. I probably never do some of the things that I did that first year because I've learned my lesson. But at one point during these full grappling uniforms, very thick material, and I say, guys, I want you to go swim across the lake and come back. And they're all like, yes, sir, and Mr. Noreen, before anyone is even in the water, jumping in head first, starts swimming out there. And only after he gets about halfway out there, we start seeing him just slowly sinking below the water. And it starts this huge panic, and Christina goes out over there, and Mr. Darling's swimming, both strong swimmers, get him and help him to shore. And after the fact, I said, Mr. Noreen, what was going on there? And he's like, well, no, sir, I had never learned how to swim. What? Why did you tell me? So we're going to always ask people if they can swim before they jump in the water.
Good thing is I know how to swim now. See, before I was just doing the doggy paddling. It only works about half the length of the football field. Depending on how strong you are, and then you start sinking down, and it's kind of game over. So I was lucky to have Miss Darling and Christina, kind of yank me up to the shore.
I have to say, there's a lot of other really great stories that come out of the retreat.
Oh,
You cannot share all of them with you.
Right.
Some of them are sort of rites of passage that you have to experience firsthand. We don't want to ruin that for you, but I will say there's a lot of really cool things that happen.
And we're all here to tell the tale. So
So you will survive at least.
you will most likely survive.
Probably.
Yes.
And bouncing off of that, the retreat overall, it was probably one of the best experiences I've ever had with a group of people. And that really speaks a lot because I've done my fair share of events and whatnot, group parties and all that kind of stuff. And I feel like the retreat, it really brought something special to the table. So I recommend, if you've never been, come on, you got to come to the retreat. It's going to be so much fun. You can train with us and Master Rose, Master Sunok, and Mr. Darling. And it's just the best experience that I've ever had as a group of people in Vermont. It's beautiful. Sitting up on that mountain, meditating, just feeling the air and just breathing, hearing the birds chirp in the morning, doing all kinds of cool things throughout the retreat that I might not be able to share, but it's definitely worth the experience.
Yes, sir. Well, I mean, we've heard a lot about the retreat, which is to be expected, and it's something that, as everybody has kind of said, you don't really know until you go, and so it is that kind of special rite of passage, even just going, and then within that experience are so many other moments where you're able to see yourself in a new way. And that's all I'll say about the retreat. I definitely agree with everybody. If you have the means, and you have the time, or if you can make the time, definitely go for it.
I'll just say one more thing about the retreat. I think just talking to people who went to the retreat and kind of hearing from them, the retreat was a really good recharge for your martial art passion. So
Yes, sir.
if you're feeling a little burnout, and listen, everyone feels burnout at some point, especially people who've been training for 2 or 3 years. And a lot of our students have been training for a long time. Going to something like that, it's gonna revitalize you. I remember when we all first came back from retreat, we're all into your training all the time, we're like really excited about that. And so, you know, if you're feeling like you need to recharge, think about doing the retreat. It's gonna really get you back up on your feet. It's gonna force you to train. And then once you train, your body's gonna feel great and you're gonna want to train, you know. So
One last
you can
thing.
do it. So,
After coming back from the retreat, I'm in class now, and like the retreat is like my baseline. Like I went into the retreat thinking, okay, like, I've never done anything like this. I've never been in a fitness camp, or I don't go to the gym. Like again, like I'm 3 years into training here, and so I'm like, I don't really know what my level of overall fitness is. So yeah, I'll go to this hardcore 8 hours a day martial arts training camp, and coming out of that, the way that I have like interacted with my body and mind and spirit and like just everything since then has been just at a different standard. Like I find myself in situations throughout the day where I go, oh, remember that one time at the retreat when this happened? And I'm able to like push through no matter what it is. Changing course a little bit. My favorite memory from the year, I have a few. So I really enjoyed the trunk or treat, seeing everybody's costumes, seeing all of the trunks come together, and the amount of support that we saw from our community, from our sidekicks, and also the way the larger community responded to that event. You know, like we put up ads on Facebook, and we were all kind of like, oh, you know, like for us, it's always like, man, like if everybody shows up like from our community, like that's great. Like we want to see the people that we get to see all the time and just spend that time and cherish that time. But when more people from the community come out and they say, hey, you know, we've never been here and we heard about this event and like thanks for putting this on, it's so awesome to get those people in and say, you know, like who are you? Like what do you do? Like what school do you go to? And all these things. So my favorite memories are always going to be around making those connections. That ties into my job here as well as the as the community kind of coordinator, but it's, you know, I love it. I really love interacting with our community and meeting new members of the community and inviting people in. So my other memorable moment is most recently our holiday party. It was just this past weekend, and you know, it's always like a scramble. It's great. We really got to make sure that that everything gets set up and goes well. But like once you open the door, you just have to go, okay, you let it run loose. And you know, we were all the way up until the very beginning of the holiday party kind of like, oh, you know, there might be a few people who show up, like we just weren't sure. And I sat down for 1 second to finish up one like final thing, and then an hour and a half later I was able to finish that thing because everybody just came pouring through the doors. And so seeing everybody coming in and like, you know, I've got these presents and I brought all this food and, you know, where do we sit? I was like, ah, what's going on? And it was just great.
Yeah. Another thing about that holiday party was it was the first time we've done the holiday party since we brought the mats.
Yes, sir.
And just realizing how much that increases the flexibility of our space. I mean, I thought it was great. Everyone's sitting like on these buffet tables over here.
Yes, sir.
You know, just having like, it was almost like medieval times. You know, people over there eating, and then we have our sack racing going down. We're just turning crackers up on the board. I thought it was really great. And I feel like we've been refining that holiday party over the last 5 years. And it just gets better and better every year. And another thing I was thinking on when you were talking is like how all of our events that we do kind of come together to create an overarching experience in different unique ways. You know, like the grand award ceremony at the beginning of the year, really showcasing the talent here at the school. The camping trip, really bringing that core group together. in a deep way. The cookout, you know, in the middle of the summer, bringing in some of those new students and just into a kind of a casual environment where they can kind of mix and mingle with people and get to know them. You know, same thing with the hiking, very similar to that. We had the trunk or treat is really about showcasing the strength of our community to the outside community, and getting to bring in some new students. And then, you know, that holiday party is also really good for bringing in new students to get to meet some of their parents and students at school. So awesome. And I think we were going to talk a little bit about some ideas for next year.
Yes, sir.
As well, for wrap things up. You guys have any thoughts on, you know, what we can do better next year, or what we should try to accomplish next year? As far as events go, any thoughts there?
Oh, I have so many. So I want you guys to go first.
I have so many as well, but
Yes, sir.
repeating, doing, you know, those events again, like the camping trip. We definitely need to get that again because that was so much fun as well. Believe it or not, even just walking from the campsite to the bathroom
Oh
was
my
fun.
God.
Just
Yes.
looking up at the sky, the moon, and I really liked that part, even though it was very simple and, you know, normal, you know, you can go outside and do that anywhere, but I feel like that was still pretty cool. And doing the cookout, that was also extremely fun. Frisbee, that's always fun. And the retreat again, the holiday party, the Halloween party, all that kind of stuff. Just
Everyone's
repeating
ready.
that again. I'm ready for
He's
it.
ready.
And
Run it back, run it back,
Yeah.
run it back.
Exactly.
Nice.
I think the idea is, you know, every year refine those community events to be a little bit better, you know, little tweaks and stuff. Like we tried, you know, sack racing, and then three-legged races, and we did
Yes, sir.
cornhole, and like, you know, cornhole was a little slow, three-legged race was a little perilous, you know, so people were afraid to get out. And so the sack racing definitely has sort of seemed to be the best choice there, but everything, like little tweaks here and there to make them better. Some ideas I have for next year is we really wanted to do a board breakathon as a fundraiser, and then also as a community builder. Basically how it works is you go and you sell boards to people, much like you would, if you're in Boy Scouts, you would sell, was it wrapping paper, popcorn or something, and then, you know, Girl Scouts cookies. And you say, hey, can you, you know, give me $5 so I can break this board for this charity? And then we just all get together, we make lines, we do demos, we just break a ton of boards, and it's a really exciting experience. And sometimes you can do it in locations, like maybe we go to the mall, or we run out of space in town, and we invite people to come. Could be really exciting, really cool. And you know, Jesse, you were talking a lot about just doing some kind of community event, maybe picking up trash along the street,
Community
or
service,
community
yes, sir.
service, yeah, community service kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
That would be fun. And I don't know if this is in the works for next year, but I'd like to maybe tackle having a tournament. Certainly at the very least, going to tournaments again, because with COVID and everything, we had to put a lot of stuff on pause, but we were just starting to get to going to tournaments as we were sort of raising up a good crop of, you know, intermediate level students. And I think we'll try to do some more of that next year.
Yes, sir.
Sure.
I would say if we do the hikes again, what I was saying earlier, getting like two groups, like one would be more a shorter distance for maybe kids, and then the ones for like adults, like we just go for a long time. Like maybe we'll pack out with our lunches, and like we're gonna eat on the trail, and
Well, there has
something
been
like
some
that.
discussion about doing one of those hardcore camping trips like they used to do back in the college days with my college club, like just go in with
The
the
raccoon attack
just go in with a small group, make a debris shelter, and, you know, set snares and stuff.
Sir, let's do it.
It's kind of adjacent to what you're talking about. We'll see if there's interest. in
Middle of
that.
August, no water.
It would be a good like leadership team bonding experience.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Any other thoughts for next year? Like things we can do better?
Going back to like the camping trip and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
it was a lot of fun. I think if we added more like little events, like going on like a mini hike, it'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Or like, bring out your fishing poles and we can all like,
Go
learn
fish.
how to fish or fish in general.
You bring the nets.
I'll bring my nets. Like maybe learning more about nature and all that kind of stuff, or doing more like hands-on, like how do you build that debris shelter and stuff like that. Like that'd be a really cool like learning session. So if we decided to make like another like camping trip for like leadership or something like that, you go to the camping trip, you can learn that kind of thing, and then that way when that goes up, you're not struggling like crazy.
We're doing a fire making contest. All right, kids, build your best fire. Go.
Whoa.
That would be fun.
Everybody loses.
It's hard to make a fire with
It
very little
is.
resources.
It
It's
is.
easy with like a bunch of paper and stuff.
Mhm.
I was saying more like forest fire, like everybody loses.
Oh. Yeah, that.
Or the wood's too wet and nothing happens.
Yeah.
It's like really good fire building skills, but the wood's wet. Oh, so that hurts.
I was going through my Facebook feed and I saw some pictures of Mr. Noreen and Mr. Trevor doing a parents' night out. We gotta do that again. So I put out a post and it seemed like a lot of parents were interested. So we're definitely gonna try to do a couple of parents' nights out next year. This would be exciting.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Also, we, just speaking of concrete things that we have, we're gonna be having a really exciting seminar on the same weekend as the Grand Awards ceremony, which is the 26th of February. That Friday on the 25th, we're gonna have a seminar with Master Jason Jestrajek, who's gonna be teaching a lot of cool self-defense stuff. So
Yes, sir.
I'm very excited for that. And then he's actually gonna be there for testing, so he's gonna be looking at all you guys and giving me his insight on where you're at. And then at the Grand Award ceremony, he's been giving out one person at testing an award, which would be really exciting. So I'm excited about that, and we got a lot of other stuff coming up.
Christina, any like new things or anybody like if you could conjure up, hypothesize, imagine like one new amazing thing that you might like to see next year, or you might like to try to contribute to or help build or figure out. Any ideas just off the top of your head? No wrong answers.
Teaching people how to swim would be great.
I'm gonna fill the dojo with water.
Especially this guy.
I can teach people to swim.
No.
To a point.
Yeah, and if you guys have ideas, we want to see in the comments below. Tell us what you want us to do next year. You have some thoughts, ways we can do our current events better, or suggestions for new events that we can put on the calendar. We'd love to hear them.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Any others?
No, sir.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us. I think it's always good to reflect on, how the year has gone and where we've come from, because we are moving onward and upward. Everyone, just so proud of what everyone's accomplished here at the school. We had some amazing promotions this year.
Really?
A lot of blue belts and red belts. It was kind of
Black.
and some black belts. Yeah, it's really exciting. When you're starting a new school, and the first few years, everyone's just like white belts and yellow belts, and now that we've been around for a while, we celebrated our 5th year anniversary in October 3rd of this year, and now it's a very different school than it was when we first opened up. We have a lot of upper ranks and even some black belts now, and that's just going to continue.
Yes, sir.
Come back in 5 years, I want to see everyone who's at the academy right now with a black belt around their waist.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well,
Yeah. I mean, looking forward to big things, and we're looking forward to sharing them with you. And we will see you next year for the year in review. How do we want to exit?
1, 2, 3.
wait,
1.
we gotta do this way. 3, 2, 1.
If you enjoyed that podcast, please consider liking and subscribing to our YouTube channel, as well as hitting the notification bell. We offer in-person, group, and private lessons at our facility in Kyle, Texas, as well as virtual lessons anywhere in the world. If you'd like to learn more about our programs, you can find us online at risingphoenixtkd.com.